Welcome to the Friday night live stream for studentloanjustice.org. If I can see your comments, if you're watching us on Facebook, Facebook only, if I can see your comments, I will definitely respond to them. So I've got three quick announcements, actually sort of action items. Number one, we have been calling senators nationwide for the past 3 days, telling/asking them to co-sponsor and publicly push S2598. S2598 is a very important bill that will return bankruptcy protections to all federal student loans. This bill has been a long time coming. We need to push. Senators, if you have not called both of your senators, please make it a point this Monday morning. Call both of your senators and tell them what I just said. If they happen to be Republican senators, push even harder. That's very important, like very, very important. Now, nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, guys. It's a terrible thing to have to do. But we've got to have the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. Hopefully nobody will have to file, but we've got to have the threat back on our side if we're going to see any meaningful loans canceled, which is the ultimate thing that we're fighting for. If you want to see loans canceled, we got to fight for this bill. Only with the threat of bankruptcy will that happen. Second announcement, please go to our website and join your state chapter group, studentloanjustice.org. Our state chapters, all politics is local, guys, and we need your help. This is a strictly grassroots group here. We've got over 1 million people on our petition, on our various platforms, got like 1.1 something million people. But all politics is local. This stuff is not going to get solved on the internet, really. So go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and join your state chapter group, please. Third announcement, actually request, if you can donate, when you go to the website, please donate if you can. We survive and thrive on relatively tiny amounts of support from normal people. So we can do things like pay for this crappy little apartment and our internet and stuff. We get by on very little money. We cannot do it on nothing. So if you're new to the group, if you can pitch in, even $10 is great. You know, we don't need much to survive and fight and win this battle, but we can't do it on nothing. As a quick aside, we would love to expand our email list so that we can email like hundreds of thousands of people, but that's hugely expensive. I mean, our budget is tiny, in the thousands of dollars a month, like $3,000 a month. Sending email to all of our people would cost like nearly a couple $1,000s a month. So, you know, that's not gonna. I would love for that to happen, but it won't happen until we can get a few more donations in. So, if you've never donated, please donate. If you have donated, if you could re-up your support, that'd be super great. Okay, tonight we're doing a free-form Friday evening. I hope if some of you are bored out there, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out, and I will gladly respond to them as I can see them. In the news right now, there's a lot of nonsense out there, guys. There's a ton of noise out there that is it's just not very relevant. We are the signal, not the noise. Remember that. But so having said that, the articles that I'm seeing like today, Elizabeth Warren is pushing to pull everybody out of default, all the 10 plus million people who are in default right now on their student loans. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who we don't hate, wants those people to be pulled out of default before the repayment pause ends on February 1st. I probably shouldn't have even brought that up. I don't think that's that big of a deal. Frankly, it's a little concerning to me. Number one, this lending system is dead. It's done. It's toast by all rational metrics and measures. I'm going to spit some facts at you. You just need to inculcate these facts. Before the pandemic, 80% of all borrowers were either not paying, and that's over half, by the way. Before the pandemic, over half of all borrowers were not making payments. Another 30% to make the 80 were paying and paying and paying, but their loan balances were going up, not down, up. So 80% of the 45 million federal student loan borrowers in the country were never going to be able to repay their loans. And the people in default have seen their loans double, triple, quadruple, times 10 with penalties and fees and nonsense. It does very little good to pull those people out of default. Those people, nobody should be paying on their loans anymore. The lending system is a dead man walking. The loans should be ended. The lending system should be ended by all rational metrics or measures. You know, the default rate for subprime home mortgages was 20%. That was a lot. The default rate for 2004 students who left school in 2004, 40%, double the subprime home mortgage default rate. Now, what do we know about the class of 2004? Well, we know a couple things. The economy was pretty good in 2004, number one. Number two, people were borrowing less than a third of what people are borrowing today for college in 2004. So if the default rate for 2004 students is 40%, what do you think it is for more recent students, like people who graduated into the financial crisis 2008 or 9? People who graduated into this pandemic? Yeah, it's going to be like 75%. And this is all pre-pandemic, guys, pre-pandemic. So quite frankly, pulling people who are in default out of default, what are you? I mean, really, that to me looks like nothing more than a shameless ploy to get people on the hook to start paying again. That's terrible. This beast should not be fed. This beast should be killed. So here's another little fact that you need to know. As I said, before the pandemic, over half of all borrowers were not paying at all. Now, here today, during the pandemic, almost nobody is paying. If you really think that even like 25% of the borrowers are going to resume paying their loans February 1st, you're wrong. You're wrong. Ain't going to happen. Maybe in the first month, maybe in February 2000. Again, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. And if I can see them, I will respond to them. So maybe in February 2022, maybe like, I don't know, 30%, maybe even 35%, maybe even let's be very generous and say that in the month of February, 40% of the borrowers resume making payments. It's not going to be that high. That's not going to last very long. They might hang in there for a couple months and they'll be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I was completely, pardon my French, effed before this pandemic. I'm not doing this. This is nonsense and ridiculous. So whatever the spike in payment resumption is in, say, the month of February, March, that's going to be cut in half by April, May, June, July. So by August, let's say by next summer, we're going to be down to like, I don't know, 20% maybe making payments. And the default rate is going to be just astronomically huge, beyond anything we've ever seen for any lending system in this country's history, ladies and gentlemen. So the lending system has failed, guys, and pulling people out of default is just rearranging deck chairs on a sinking ship. We try not to give advice on this group, although I tell you everything that I know, and you can make your own decisions. But, you know, signing anything that the Department of Education puts in front of you is a very dicey, suspicious proposition in the first place. Because we happen to know the Department of Education has never had, does not have now, and will never have any institutional motivation to cancel loans. They will, all of their corporate culture, institutional motivations will be to not cancel loans. Like even with this recent news we saw about the public service loan forgiveness program, where supposedly 30,000 people are going to get their loans canceled in the next couple months, and up to 500,000 people may see their loan payments counted, past loan payments counted where they didn't before. Even if every single person in PSLF that they noted, all 500,000 people got their loans canceled entirely, the track record for the Department of Education would be virtually unchanged. Something like 98, maybe 97.5 or 8% of everyone who has ever tried for any of the federal government's loan forgiveness programs will have been disqualified out of that. So all of these forgiveness things are cruel jokes. And quite frankly, I'm still not convinced that all the people they say are going to get their loans canceled through public service are going to. And it was only because there was a teachers union pushing very hard for that we got anything. So guys, the Department of Education are not good people. They are bad, very bad people. The federal government, you may love it. Hey, what's not to love? I'm sure the Department of Health and Human Services does a bang-up job serving the people. I'm sure the Veterans Administration does a fantastic job serving people. I'm sure that every government agency does a swell job serving the people. But ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that the Department of Education does not serve the people. The Department of Education is a heinously corrupted and captured agency. They will only cancel loans under the proverbial gunpoint. So that, and what that gunpoint is, by the way, as I said at the top, is the return of the threat of bankruptcy to these loans. Again, nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. The founding fathers, however, knew that bankruptcy was so important, that is, the citizens having bankruptcy rights was so important, that they called for uniform bankruptcy laws, uniform, in the Constitution, not the Bill of Rights, the body of the Constitution itself. And they called for it, by the way, ahead of the power to declare war, ahead of the power to raise an army, ahead of the power to build a navy and coin currency and create a judiciary. So think twice before signing anything that the Department of Education puts in front of you. They might say, hey, we're going to take your loans out of default. Sign here. And you sign there. And then all of a sudden, we get bankruptcy rights back. But because of this bankruptcy bill, who knows? I hope this isn't the case. But all of a sudden, there's a 10-year waiting period, by the way. I do know that. The bankruptcy bill we're fighting for, S2598, does have a 10-year waiting period associated with it. And while right now I can say that the 10 years should only count from when you originally took the loan, that could change. It could be the 10-year waiting period. That clock is reset. If you get a new loan, if you sign on to a new repayment program, there's all kinds of little swampy tricks that could be put into this legislation. So I just urge you all, the most abundance of caution. Do be very, 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 very wary about ever signing anything ever again that any lender or the Department of Education or its agents ever put in front of you. What we have seen is that almost always ends up being a trick that harms you. So beware. Hey, we have some comments here. Dweeb says, sketchy ASF. I'm not sure what ASF stands for, but sketchy is right. Dweeb also says, bringing defaulted FFELP loans out of default gives the guarantor a way to sell the loans as student loan asset-backed securities to Wall Street. That's true. That's a great point, Mr. Dubuis. The older style loans, these FFELP loans, very dangerous, toxic assets, and they are sold and bought and sliced and diced on Wall Street. They are. Interestingly, and this is a smaller sub-fact, about half of FFELP loans, believe it or not, are currently held directly by the Department of Education. So that's good in that they can be canceled by executive order, which is what the petition that we started that whole national conversation, by the way. So half of FFELP loans are actually owned by the federal government. Who knew? They can be canceled, but the other half are sliced and diced, bought and sold on Wall Street. What do we know about Wall Street? Nothing good. Jim Smith says, just don't pay. You know, Jim, this is the growing chorus that I am hearing across the board over the past, I don't know, since Biden has taken office, let's say. You know, the lending system is just so far beyond. What's beyond catastrophically failed? I'm not sure. I don't know what that word is, but that is where we are at, folks. The corporate media, the establishment media, the swamp media, almost all of the mainstream media, with a few rare exceptions, tends to, like, Google student loans right now, and you're going to see, oh, get ready to start repaying again in February. Oh, get ready to start repaying again. Oh, hey, look, your loans might be taken out of default. Oh, yeah, so get back on that squirrel cage and get ready to run. It's nonsense, guys. I'm here talking to you as a normal human being who has lived and breathed this student loan issue since 2005 and before. I wish I wasn't an expert, but I just am. I've been doing this for so long now. I am, anyways, feel sorry for me. You should feel sorry for me. But I've seen the media. I see what the media does, what they say, what their aims are, what they're trying to get done, how they are trying to spin the facts, how they are trying to subconsciously push us borrowers, how they are trying to subconsciously push and sway the attitudes and opinions of non-borrowers. I've seen all the tricks that the media plays, and 90% of the media is aligned against us. And I almost don't even want to start spitting examples at you, but there's just so many. We are a nonpartisan group, by the way, so you know. We essentially hate both parties at this point, I would say. But having said that, we've got some terrible things to say about NPR, PBS, two, most people would say, liberal outlets. They've done terrible, terrible, terrible reporting. And I love NPR. I love PBS. Like, when I'm driving, I listen to NPR. It's like kind of like what I do. And I don't consider myself a liberal person necessarily, but it seems like the best information you can get, just straight news, tends to be NPR. And I'm here to tell you, NPR and PBS are essentially, put it this way, we protested in front of NPR headquarters in Washington, D.C. I had a big sign that had the NPR logo, NPR in blocks, National Propaganda Radio. Like, I'm a pretty moderate guy, and it takes a lot to get me out protesting. It truly does. But I've been so disgusted with the coverage I have seen from NPR and PBS that I took to the streets when I was living in Washington, D.C., fighting this battle. It's terrible. And NPR is the tip of the iceberg. Like, I'm picking on them because they're sort of liberal. Forbes magazine is the pit viper's den of the student loan mafia, the student loan swamp. And, you know, a year ago today, Forbes, you might see one article about student loans from them every other day. That was about the rate at which they were publishing student loan pieces. The last week that I looked, Forbes was literally publishing like 2, if not 3 articles per day about what's going on with the student loan thing. And I'm telling you guys, the Forbes people are, in my humble opinion, evil. They are doing everything they can to reanimate this dead lending system. They're doing everything they can to trick everybody into thinking that, oh yeah, I should start paying my loans again in February. They are spinning and spinning and spinning as fast as they possibly can to defy gravity. So, and you know, people love to post Forbes articles on our group, or at least try to. It's one of the big reasons we unfortunately had to end the practice of allowing our members to post stuff on our group. If you have something to post, send it to us. And I'm sorry, guys, but we've got to curate it because there is so much misinformation, disinformation, propaganda. You know, I can spot them from a mile away because I've been looking at every article that's probably ever been written on the student loan issue for the past 17, 16 years. But most people can't. And why would they? I mean, student loans is a complicated thing. Most people, in fact, I'd say maybe over half the people out there watching this even, they're not even 100% sure whether they have federal or private loans. And I'm not mocking you. I'm not ridiculing you because like you, I used to be a normal person anyways. And, you know, I would read something. I'd be, oh, I would sort of take it as face value. But guys, I'm telling you, there's so many tricks and traps from far right stuff like Forbes and even the left stuff like NPR and PBS, who, by the way, take a whole lot of money from the federal government and who also, by the way, have their headquarters, NPR does anyways, literally within a pretty strong, but nonetheless, a stone's throw from one of the key Department of Education office buildings in Washington, D.C. So please, guys, don't believe the stuff you see in the media. So much bullshit out there. Hey, a couple other comments here. And remember, guys, we've got over 1 million people on this group. What you do matters. Sitting there waiting and watching and worrying, that's not going to win this battle for us. Letting the people at Forbes and the NPR people from both sides of the aisle sort of play this good cop, bad cop routine on us, that only serves the lending system, the Department of Education, and the snakes and the vermin and the cockroaches that hover and nest in and around and through that swamp. And that's being very kind that's actually insulting to swamp creatures. Like, I've got way more respect for an alligator or a turtle or a platypus living in a swamp and like eating dead things than I do for the people who have decided to make their livings in and around and through the disgusting, obscene, and now thankfully catastrophically failed and unconstitutional, nationally threatening federal student loan system that we now find ourselves witnessing the slow death spiral of. Boy, that was a mouthful. So Dweeb again says, don't take their phone calls. Talking to these people result in acting without your consent. Yeah, you know, Dweeb, like I said, you cannot be too careful with the student loan swamp rats, the vermin. They will do anything they can to trick you into maybe resetting the clock on your loan. So all of a sudden, the bankruptcy bill passes. All of a sudden, you can't file for bankruptcy. Like, I'm noticing the Department of Education is putting these little things out there all the time now for the past month, ever since they announced the public service thing, so-called overhauled public service thing. They're trying to get everybody to consolidate or reconsolidate their loans into the direct program. I say be very, very careful for the reasons I mentioned. Signing anything with your signature can be a very bad thing legally. So just be careful, guys. The most important advice I will give you tonight is you've got to help us fight. We are this close to getting the threat of bankruptcy returned to student loans. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, as I said 3 times. But everybody, including you and me and everybody with federal student loans, needs the threat of bankruptcy returned. That is just so absolutely and imperatively important. You don't understand. If you want your loans canceled, we've got to get bankruptcy first. And quite frankly, the other student loan groups in this space, they need to get on board with that immutable fact as well. The fact that they don't, there are two conclusions I draw from that. Number one, either they don't know enough about the dynamics of this lending system, or number two, quite frankly, I find it suspicious, because anybody who is claiming to be fighting this battle should know what I know. And that is that we are not going to get any meaningful loan cancellation until the threat of bankruptcy is returned to us. That is why S2598 is so important. And that is why we are also pushing President Biden so hard. Actually, we're pushing the Department of Education so hard. People like James Cavall, people like Richard Cordray, people like Toby Merrill, to order their contractors to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. Only with the threat of bankruptcy are the swamp creatures, hopefully those three names I just mentioned not being in that club, although they do work at the Department of Education. Hopefully they're the good guys. But only the threat of bankruptcy is going to get these people off their ass and realize, okay, it's game over now. It finally is game over. Like student loans, yeah, we managed to rob student loans of bankruptcy rights for decades. The only type of loan in our nation's history to be uniquely stripped of bankruptcy, I might add. But they'll realize that the jig is up. And if they do not cancel loans broadly and meaningfully, maybe totally, which is quite frankly the best option for all involved right now. I mean, why keep this dying beast floating even one more wave down the river? Why do that? Why not just reset the whole damn thing, come up with a far better, fairer, cheaper, less expensive way to fund higher education in this country, put the colleges on a diet? That's my own editorial opinion. Why not do that? Why keep this monster, this Frankenstein zombie, lurching along? Cancel all the loans. But guys, that all starts with bankruptcy. It just does. Don't pay attention to any of the bullshit you see out there in the zeitgeist. A lot of people against us on this. Take it from me. Unfortunately, I've been doing this for so many years. I want these loans gone. I want these loans gone. I don't do any, we as an organization, as a strictly grassroots group, we take no money from bad people. We don't have any side deals. We don't make advertising revenue. We're not trying to sell you any loan counseling. All that stuff is bullshit. It's nonsense. We won't do that. The only place we get our funding from, so you know, are normal donations from normal people just like you. We don't have any little side things that we're kind of not telling you about. We're not trying to sell you advice. We're not trying to get you to sign for new anything. We're trying to get these loans gone. Absolutely, 100% and totally. And we're not trying to raise money to do a debt buyback. No gimmicks, no bullshit. This group right here is the eye of the hurricane. We are the tip of the spear in the war, and it is a war, for student loan justice. So maybe for the last time tonight, I will simply reiterate, and maybe for a little production value, I will bring my little kitty onto the camera here. Okay. All right. I tried. Maybe the last time I will say it, guys, we've got to push senators this next week. If you're not working, think of this as a half or even full-time job. We've got to push senators to co-sponsor and push S2598. It's so important. It's everything. Put everything else out of your mind. Focus on this like a laser. If you happen to have a Republican senator in your state, then push double hard. We've got two Republicans. As I said, we're a nonpartisan group. But guys, the Republicans just are shit on this issue. The Democrats are terrible. The Republicans are against us. It's just a fact. We've got the weepy, hand-wringy Democrats saying, oh, you poor people, you need relief. And on the other hand, we've got these Republicans saying, oh, you should have pay back what you owe and all this just nonsense. The Lenny system has failed, and no amount of finger wagging by anybody will cause that not to be the case. Conservatives, Republicans should be on our side. We've got two great Republicans on that bill right now. John Cornyn, Josh Hawley of Texas and of Missouri. There's no reason we can't get 48 Republicans to co-sponsor this bill. Maybe they don't want loan cancellation. Okay, whatever. They should, but maybe, obviously, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I can read the papers like anybody. It's going to be a tough sell to get Republicans to sign on to debt cancellation, and that may happen, but it's tough. It should be a no-brainer to get a Republican to co-sponsor at the very minimum S-2598. Should not be hard. So make it your mission to get your Republican senator to sign on. We can help you with that. We've got your back all the way. In fact, if you want to get a phone conference going with the staff of your Republican senator, bring me on to that phone conversation. I will do all the talking. I've been doing this for years. I can do this shit in my sleep. Pardon my French. We got to get this done, guys. But it all starts with you. All politics is local. Maybe get with your state chapter group. And maybe a small band of brave souls, you being the lead of, will march into your senator's office in Chattanooga, Tennessee, or Dallas, Texas, or Miami, Florida, or South Carolina, North Carolina, Indiana. Did I say Texas? Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. Any of these red states that are being hurt particularly badly, West Virginia, any of these conservative states with conservative Republican senators, march into their office with your state chapter group. And guys, I'm telling you, when you sit there and wait and watch and worry and assume and expect and hope and even pray that somebody else will do your work for you, nothing happens. Well, sometimes miracles happen. Okay, I'll give you that. But come on, guys. We got to put the work in. These are your loans. This is your problem. How long have you been living under this nonsense? How much longer do you really want to be living under this nonsense? Failed. I already said the adjectives earlier. How long do you want to be running around with your tail in between your legs for stupid effing student loans? Nonsense. The lending system has failed. The loans are going away. The only question is, are they going to go away quickly and cleanly in a way that helps the economy, helps the nation, builds morale, creates patriotic people? Or is it going to be the long, slow, painful, civilly unrestful, dystopian, terrible unwinding? I don't want that second thing. I want that first thing. If you agree, then why would you not spend the next week or 10 days of your life with the first thing on your mind, getting your senators to co-sponsor S-2598? Why would you not? I don't get that. Laziness is not going to win this battle for us. Expecting anybody else to pull our weight for us, including me, including you, is not going to win this battle for us. The only thing, the media is not going to win this battle for us. We've seen what that's all about. And we love the media, by the way. We will talk to any and all reporters. We've been featured on 60 Minutes, in the Washington Post, in the New York Times, on Fox News, Newsmax, you name it. We've been there, and we will talk to any and all media, but we cannot depend on the media. Politics starts, believe it or not, with you and me, normal people that are pissed off enough to get off of their couch. So come on, guys. I don't know what more I can say. But what I will say before I sign off here tonight is go to that link, like down there. If you go to our website, you will see daily actions. Go to that website. Go to our website, studentloanjustice.org. On Monday, call both of your senators. Do that daily action. If you want to go above and beyond, maybe have a little more time on your hands, maybe you're a little more pissed off than the average scared borrower. And we're not scared, guys. We're not scared at all. and you shouldn't be scared either. We're actually making a film called Scared to Debt, but I'm telling you guys, we're not scared. We got this. We are the people. So if you're a little more ambitious than most, a little more pissed off than most, do the past month's worth of those daily actions. They will help tremendously. Just do it, man. So with that, I think I will sign off. I can't seem to find our live stream anymore. So if I missed your comments, I apologize for that, but Facebook is weird. In the future, if you're watching us on Twitter or YouTube, come on to our Facebook group. You can find it from the website. And we are more than happy to answer your questions, your comments, and you can, heck, I'll even bring you up and we can do like a side-by-side live stream, me and you. If you are that on fire and passionate about this issue, and you want to join the fun, like live, let me know. Who knows? I get sick of hearing my own voice spitting facts out incessantly. I think other people probably do too. So yeah, we're happy to mix it up. We're happy to bring on guests. If you can think of some experts that you think we should have on and you can get them to come on, that's great. If you have any ideas, tips, tricks, stuff that you want to do that. But go to our website and do the past month's worth of our daily actions. If you really want to be taken seriously, if you're really into this fight, if you understand what's riding on this, because remember, if they can do to student loans, if they can do to other loans what they did to student loans, that is extremely dangerous, guys. This is the camel's nose under the tent. Yeah, we are the tip of the spear in the fight for student loan justice, but there's a lot of other bad things in the wings. If they can do what they did to student loans to other debt, they would do it to medical debt. They would do it to credit cards. They would do it to all kinds of consumer debt. They'd probably do it to every type of loan out there that isn't taken out by a corporation, right? Like that's what they would do. And so we can't let this stand, guys. We're fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for 45 million people in the country, whether they know it or not. And they won't know until you tell them. So tell them. But we're also fighting for tens or hundreds of millions of people who are going to follow in our footsteps and don't deserve to be conquered and enslaved by debt. You know, the founding fathers, you know what? That's another sermon for another night. I would love to tell you about the history of debt in this country. But the founding fathers are on our side. Suffice that to say, this is the most, I am humbled and honored to be in this fight, and you should be too. The Constitution, in many ways, depends on us winning this fight. We cannot lose, guys. We cannot. So no pressure or anything. But it's a fun fight to fight, and you will only know that when you get your hands dirty. You get you scrape your knuckles a little bit, and you join in this battle. Fight or flight, choose fight. We need you. So with that, guys, I think I will actually sign off.
Getting facts out.
I will be back on.
I think other people probably do too.
I will be back on Monday. It'll be. I may actually be back on Sunday. Look for us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Monday, in fact, all weekday evenings. So Ed will be here Tuesday, Thursday. I got the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll probably do something on Sunday. Things are heating up really quick right now. We need you. We need you to be checking in with us on a daily basis. We need you to join our state chapters. We need you to be doing our daily actions. And finally, if you can donate, as I said, it would be super helpful at this time. So with that, have a great weekend. Good luck. Godspeed. And God bless everybody. And spread the word about this group. We love you.